قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا ونور أبصارنا محمد عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Respected brothers and elders, fill the cups please. Jazakumullah, Allah Ta'ala reward you brothers. In English there's a saying, out of sight, out of mind. Meaning if you can't see something then you tend to forget it. In the same way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we cannot see, we've never seen. Jannat we cannot see, Jahannam we cannot see, Qabr, Azab we cannot see, the Akhirat we cannot see, Maidan Hashar we cannot see, all these things we cannot see. And so, we're going to forget it if we don't talk about it. And this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the Sahaba Kiram, and in fact he was advising all of us, he said, Ta'allamul Iman, learn Iman. And the Sahaba Kiram, they took this advice on board. They used to say, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Jaddidu imanakum, keep on renewing your iman. And so the Sahaba Kiram would meet one another, and instead of asking, how are you doing, how's things, they would say, what is the state of your iman? Come on, let us increase our iman. Let us talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, unfortunately, these things are absent from our communities, from our homes. I said this afternoon in a bayan that if we were to put our phone on record and then leave it on all day and forget that it's on, and if we were to record our conversations, what we talk about, we would afterwards, when listening to it, we would laugh at ourselves. How pathetic our conversations are. We're talking about burgers. Brother, have you tried this burger, zinger burger, bunga burger, whatever burger? Have you tried this milkshake? Allah, I'd say, all about dunya, all the time dunya. And one of the elders used to say that dunya is made from dust to dust. It is going to return to dust also. So he said that agar dunya ki baat karoge, dunya to mitti se bani hai, dunya is made of dust. If you talk about cars and phones and bling and all these things, it's all made from dust and it's going to return to dust. So if you keep on talking about dunya, what will accumulate in your heart is dust. And the reality is that our hearts were filled with dust. And instead, Allah and the talks of Deen, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these are all Nurani talks, filled of effulgence. And when we will talk about Qabr and Akhirat and the Qudrat of Allah and the might of Allah and the majesty of Allah and how Allah Ta'ala does things. Yesterday I gave a few examples. Allahu Akbar. Then a person, the nur will come into the heart, then a person will feel a love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then a person will feel like doing zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then a person will feel like talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why it's so important that we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a person, once he starts or she starts talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will want to listen to the talks of Deen. Like mashallah, Allah ta'ala bless you brothers, every day you come and you listen to the talk of Deen. When in every masjid, you and I know, and we can't bury our heads in the sand and we can't paper over the cracks. The reality is that in every majlis, in every masjid, when mashallah majma comes like this, mashallah there's a big majma here as well. In every masjid, mashallah there's quite a big majma. But in every masjid I say that there's not even 1% sitting here in the masjid. Of our males, there is not even 1%, and that's not just this, every masjid. Because most people, they don't want to hear the talk of Deen. And so, in this time of evil and corruption, if our hearts are inclined towards listening to the talks of Deen, then alhamdulillah, we are blessed people, we are chosen people. We should do the shukr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah ta'ala has given us an affiliation to the Deen and we feel like listening to the talks. Otherwise, many people, if you talk to your friends and family, you will find, if you investigate a little bit, you will find individuals who have not heard a whole bayan in years, in decades. Because Jummah, lastminute.com, they come in right at the end, just as Imam Sahib saying, Allah Ta'ala sabko amal ki tawfiq de. He says, Ameen. He doesn't know what he was talking about, but Ameen for everything. And Ramzan doesn't want to listen. On the receivers, what happens in many homes, people deny these things, but I do live in the dunya, and I know, the receivers on in the home. And the Wali Sahib starts, Molana Riyaz Sahib starts a bayan, in talking about sood, interest, and the harms and the harams of. So what people do in the homes is, boti khubayan se, mogram wali sab se, change the channel. And to flick it onto another one, Amali Sahib's talking about Jannat. That's a good one. Okay, you want to hear about Jannat, but how to get to Jannat and how to avoid Jahannam, you got to hear that as well. So people say channel badal do. I say bhai channel mat badlo, chalan badlo. Apni chalan badlo. Change your ways. Don't don't stick your, just yesterday or the day before, a mother sent a message that I advise my young son, but he literally, physically sticks his fingers in his ears. He doesn't want to hear. And that's the state of the people. Many people don't want to hear the talk of deen. So we are blessed, alhamdulillah, you brothers, you come every day, you listen to the talk. This is also a ni'mat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And along with that, we have to try to increase our iman and increase our amal also. That we increase in amal, we increase in what we are doing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once a person starts talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hearing about the greatness of Allah with enthusiasm, then the person will think about Allah. Also, like when a person gets engaged, those of you who are young like me can think back to the honeymoon period, or before that, when you first got fixed up, then it was all, flowers and roses. You only had one thing in your mind. There was only one name lit up in neon lights, flashing neon lights in your mind's eye. Yeah. There's just one thing on your mind. A person gets fixed up to a girl, let's say her name is Fazila. So now all he's thinking about, Fazila. Fazila. If his mom mentions Fazila, his heart skips a beat. That is love. So when we have that love for Allah, when we keep on hearing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then automatically we will, somebody said that remind your heart of Allah so much that you get to a stage where your heart reminds you of Allah, where you don't have to consciously make an effort to do zikr. Automatically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yaad aa jaye. And then a person will, in solitude, sit and think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then around them, whatever they see, that will remind them of Allah. Har jagah Allah hi Allah, Allah hi Allah, Allah hi Allah nazar aayenge. I gave you some examples yesterday. And the pious predecessors, they were like that. Even from simple things. There was one old woman, she was sitting in a village, she was spinning her wheel, charkha. When there's the yarn and spinning the cord. So she was doing that. So a Molana, he came into this village and he thought, I'll set up a little maktab and madrasa here because these people are jahil, these people won't know Islam. So he came upon this old woman and she was spinning the thing. So he thought that there can't be anyone more jahil than this woman here. She spent her whole life behind this wheel. So he went over to her and she spoke very, rough kind of crude village tongue. So he asked her, Khuda ko manti hai? She goes, Bilkul manti hu. Do you believe in a God? She goes, of course I do. She goes, how many do you believe in? She said, there's only one. Molana thought, subhanallah, my work is done for me here already. He said, who told you about Allah? Has a Molana been here? He said, no, nobody comes here. I said, who told you about Allah? She goes, I recognize him myself. He goes, how? She goes, from this charkha, from the spinning wheel. Molana sat down in front of her now. He was, no, she's going to do the bayan instead. He goes, how did you recognize Allah from your spinning wheel? She goes, from a very young age I was taught to do this and I earn my living from this. So every day from morning to evening I'm just sitting on this thing. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking also. And from this I've recognized that there is a God and there's only one God. There is one Allah. He goes, how did you recognize that? He goes, because the spinning wheel, it needs some old hag like me to spin it. And if even someone like me, as weak as me, if I don't press it and if I don't spin it, it won't spin. So I realized that the cycle of the whole of the universe and the planets in their orbit, there must be somebody also there who's spinning all of that. So Molana says, subhanallah. So many kitabs of aqaid, so many masails of aqaid, you've just condensed into one. Shara aqaid ko ek hi kuze mein bhar diya. Alim Molana will understand this. So then he said, okay, hang on, but I've got a question. How did you recognize, okay, from this you understood that a spinning wheel needs somebody to turn it, so the sun, the moon, all that, there has to be somebody there to operate it. Okay, I understand that. But how do you know that there's only one? She goes, I learned that from the spinning wheel also. He said, how's that? She said that if there was two old women like me spinning the wheel, then there would be two scenarios. Either both of us would be very strong. I want to turn it anti-clockwise, she wants to turn it clockwise. Both of us are strong. We're both pulling our own way. Then what will happen is the thing will break. Or we both agree to turn it in one direction. We spin it clockwise, but because we both put our force into it, it's going to come off the spindle and it's going to break. Or the other scenario is that one of the old woman is strong, the other is weaker. When we have a tug of war, one loses. The one that loses, she's gone, and the other one wins. So in the same way, if the whole of the system of the universe, لَوْ كَانَ فِيهِمَا آلِيَةٌ إِلَّا اللَّهُ لَفَسَدَتَا, if there were two gods in the thing, then there would be two scenarios. Either both gods are powerful, in which case they'd have a tug of war and then the universe would just break, or one of them would lose the battle and the other would win, and the one that loses can't be the God. So she goes, from all of this I understood that there is Allah and there's only one Allah. Allahu Akbar. وَفِي كُلِّ شَيْءٍ آيَةٌ تَدُلُّ عَلَىٰ أَنَّهُ وَاحِدٌ. In everything there are signs. But we've got to look with eyes that see. We've got to listen with ears that hear. We've got to contemplate with an open heart. Hazrat Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, somebody asked him, Molana, such a big alim, he knew 1 million hadith by heart. Somebody asked him, Molana, how did you recognize Allah? He said, simple. I performed a simple experiment. What was that, Molana? He said, I got 3 hens' eggs, and I got 3 ducks' eggs, and I incubated them. And when they were about to hatch, I took the chicken's eggs, and I put all 6 of them, lined them up on the edge of the riverbank. And then he goes, I just sat back and watched. And he goes, I noticed and I saw, to my amazement, that when the hen's egg would break and the chick would come out, immediately it would run towards the dry ground. And when the duck's egg hatched and the duckling came out, immediately it would run towards the water. And I thought to myself, subhanallah, which university is there in the egg that teaches them that you mustn't go towards the water, oh chick, otherwise you'll drown and die. And oh duckling, your life is in the water. Allahu Akbar. Jahan mein hai ibrat ke har su namune, magar tujhko anda kiya rango bune. There are signs all around us, but we are blinded because of our avarice and our hunger, our greed for the dunya. We've just not got time to look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's signs and to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One Bedouin in the desert was asked, he was walking with his camel, proper Gamadiyo kind of person, never been to madrasa, doesn't know anything. He said, do you believe in God? He said, of course I do. He said, how? How do you recognize God? He said, I recognize Allah from the camel. He said, how? He said, I walk through the jungle and I walk down the road and then my camel, it defecates, it excretes, and then I walk on. Somebody comes after me, they see the pile of dung, from that they understand that a camel has passed here. Al-ba'ratu tadullu ala al-ba'ir wa atharu al-aqdami ala al-masir. And somebody sees my footprints and knows that I have walked here. فَسَمَاءٌ ذَاتَ بُرُوجٍ وَأَرْضُ ذَاتَ فِجَاجٍ كَيْفَ لَا تَدُلُّ عَلَى اللَّطِيفِ الْخَبِيرِ. So if dung can lead a person to the camel and footprints can lead a person to recognizing me, then this sun, this beautiful moon, how can that not lead a person to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Providing a person looks with eyes that see. Hazrat Molana Umar Palampuri Sahib Rahmatullahi says that once I was returning from a journey and there was a person sitting next to me, we struck up a conversation. It turned out that he was an atheist and he's graduated as a doctor and he's going back to his country. And we got talking and he said, Maulana Sahib, after he got very close to him, he said, Maulana Sahib, I like the way you talk. Maulana Sahib, I've got some questions for you. I've been everywhere, I've asked priests and Buddhist monks and everyone, but nobody's been able to answer satisfactorily. But I think by the way you're talking, you're a knowledgeable guy, you will be able to satisfy me. Molana Sahib said, go on, fire away. So he said, I don't believe in God. Because what I've been taught in the university, my principle is, if you can't see it, it don't exist. It doesn't exist. If you can't see it, it's not there. So that's my principle, that's why I don't. So Molana Sahib said to him that, Dr. Sahib, ये तो बहुत आसान है. That's very easy. He said, there are many things in the world that we can't see but we still believe in. So I said, no. My principle is, if I can't see it, I won't believe in it. He said, even you believe in, not just me, I can't see Jannat and Jahannam and Allah and all this, but I still believe in it. In the same way, there are many, many things that you cannot see, but you still believe. He said, no, I don't. He said, for example, there's ruh inside you and me. Show me your ruh. Take it out. Show me your ruh. You can't see the ruh, but you can understand it from signs. The sign is that you're moving, you're talking, you're walking. That's a sign that there's ruh. In the same way, intelligence. Dr. Sahib, you seem like a really intelligent guy. Take out your intelligence and show me. At most, you'll be able to take out your brain and show me. I don't want to see your brain, I want to see your intelligence. But you can't show me. But the sign that you've got intelligence is that you can write the prescriptions and you talk clever. I've not seen you going into university, I've not seen you in medical school or anything. But I know you're a clever guy. Why? Because from the signs. And if you didn't have intelligence, then you'd be ripping your clothes and throwing bricks at people. Then we could tell that this person's lost his intelligence. From signs, it can be recognized. And then he said, doctors, I'll give you one more example. You doctors, you tell us that we got sodium, potassium, salt, sugar in our bodies. He said, yes, absolutely. He said, doctors, I'm diabetic. That means that I've got too much sugar in my body. Is that true? He said, yes, absolutely. He said, doctors, ek chamach sugar nikal ke dekha do na. He said, take out 1 spoon of sugar from my body and show me, please. Or 1 spoon of salt. He said, it's not possible. He said, but you do say it exists. He said, yeah, absolutely, your body is made up of it. But you can't show me? No. He said, in the same way, Dr. Sahib, Allah Ta'ala does exist, but you can't see Him, but you can understand Him from the signs. The signs that ruh exists is a person's movement. The signs that a person's intelligence exists is his good behavior. The signs that you've got salt and sodium and all this in your body is the fact that you're alive and good health. In the same way, the signs that Allah Ta'ala exists is all around you. हर एक चमन में तू है, हर गुल में तेरी बू है, कलियां चटक चटक कर लेती है नाम तेरा, डाली डाली तेरी तख्लीक की गुन गाती है. Every stalk, every twig, every branch sings the praises of Allah and gives proof that Allah Ta'ala does exist. पत्ता पत्ता तेरी कुदरत का पता देता है. Every leaf points towards the fact that there is an Allah. Providing one looks with eyes that see, providing one hears with ears of Imaan, and providing one sits in solitude and contemplates, Allahu Akbar, how my Allah Ta'ala has made me. Many things in the world that we can't see but we still believe in. So I said, no. My principle is, if I can't see it, I won't believe in it. I said, even you believe in, not just me, I can't see Jannat and Jahannam and Allah and all this, but I still believe in it. In the same way, there are many, many things that you cannot see, but you still believe. He said, no, I don't. He said, I'll prove to you. He said, go on that. He said, for example, there's ruh inside you and me. Show me your ruh. Take it out. Show me your ruh. You can't see the ruh, but you can understand it from signs. The sign is that you're moving, you're talking, you're walking. That's a sign that there's ruh. In the same way, intelligence. Dr. Sahib, you seem like a really intelligent guy. Take out your intelligence and show me. At most, you'll be able to take out your brain and show me. I don't want to see your brain, I want to see your intelligence. But you can't show me. But the sign that you've got intelligence is that you can write the prescriptions and you talk clever. I've not seen you going into university. I've not seen you in medical school or anything. But I know you're a clever guy. Why? Because from the signs. And if you didn't have intelligence, then you'd be ripping your clothes and throwing bricks at people. Then we could tell that this person's lost his intelligence. From signs, it can be recognized. And then he said, doctors, I'll give you one more example. You doctors, you tell us that we got sodium, potassium, salt, sugar in our bodies. He said, yes, absolutely. He said, Dr. Saab, I'm diabetic. That means that I've got too much sugar in my body. Is that true? He said, yes, absolutely. He said, Dr. Saab, ek chammach sugar nikal ke dekha do na. He said, take out 1 spoon of sugar from my body and show me, please. Or 1 spoon of salt. He said, it's not possible. He said, but you do say it exists. He said, yeah, absolutely, your body is made up of it. But you can't show me? No. He said, in the same way, Dr. Saab, Allah Ta'ala does exist, but you can't see him, but you can understand him from the signs. The signs that Ruh exists is a person's movement. The signs that a person's intelligence exists is his good behavior. The signs that you've got salt and sodium and all this in your body is the fact that you're alive and good health. In the same way, the signs that Allah Ta'ala exists is all around you. हर एक चमन में तू है, हर गुल में तेरी बू है, कलियां चटक चटक कर लेती है नाम तेरा, डाली डाली तेरी तख्लीक की गुन गाती है. Every stalk, every twig, every branch sings the praises of Allah and gives proof that Allah Ta'ala does exist. पत्ता पत्ता तेरी कुदरत का पता देता है. Every leaf points towards the fact that there is an Allah. Providing one looks with eyes that see, providing one hears with ears of Imaan, and providing one sits in solitude and contemplates, Allahu Akbar, how my Allah Ta'ala has made me. When we were a fetus in the wombs of our mothers, they say that at 12 weeks or so, the fetus is the size of a grain of rice. And yet, there is a heartbeat inside it. Allahu Akbar. Signs all around us. Who does this in the darkness of the wombs? Somebody asked a scientist that how many stars are there in the night sky? Because you try to count them, you can't count them. So one astronomer came and he said that I think that there's as many stars in the night sky as there are grains of sand on the world's beaches and deserts. Allahu Akbar. If you ever go down to Blackpool Beach and then it's namaz time, then we go to do wuzu in the sea, and then when we come back and we put our hand down on the sand and then you brush off the sand, even then the sand that just sticks to your hand after the brushing off, even then you look at that, you can't count those grains of sands. So imagine how many there are in Blackpool Beach. Imagine Southport and St. Albans, all these beaches, and then the deserts as well, Sahara and all these, and all of that sand put together. How many grains of sand are there in the world? And this scientist is saying there are equivalent number of stars in the night sky. Allahu Akbar. But more recently, they've come out and they've said that no, actually that was a wrong estimation. The estimation is perhaps there are 10 times more stars in the night sky than grains of sands on the earth, and some scientists say 100 times more. Allahu Akbar. The sun is the closest star to us. The sun is a star. It's the closest star to us. That's why it's so bright and hot. All the other twinkle, twinkle little stars are also suns. But because they're so far, that's why they just look like twinkly stars. But they're all suns. How many suns are there in the nights, in the sky? Allahu Akbar. And this sun that we have is 94 million miles away from us. How far is that? If you got an airplane, a jumbo jet, and you flew in it continuously for 20 years, you would reach the sun. That's the closest star to us. Allahu Akbar. The next closest star is a triple star system, the Proxima Centauri. Those stars, the next closest stars to the earth after the sun, they are 25 trillion miles away. If you wanted to reach them in a jumbo jet, you'd get in a jumbo jet and you'd fly for 1,000,000 years, if it was possible, still then you would not reach them. The light from the sun reaches us after 12 minutes. So if the sun went out now, Allah na kare, after 12 minutes we'd realize, oh, light's out. 12, light, it travels at the speed of 186,000 miles per second. That's the speed of light. Students can correct me. I did my stuff long time ago. You guys are fresh. You've been revising. 186,000 miles per second is the speed of light. How fast is that? To understand that, if you had a rocket that could go at that speed, we'd set off from Bolton, and in 1 second it would go around the earth 7 times and we'd come back to Bolton. 186,000 miles per second. That's how fast a rocket would be. 7 times around the earth in 1 second. Okay? The light is traveling from the sun at that speed, 186,000 miles per second, and yet it still takes 12 minutes for that light to reach us. Allahu Akbar. And this Proxima Centauri, the light to reach us from there takes 12 years. Allahu Akbar. So if those stars faded out today, we wouldn't find out until 12 years later. This is the qudrat of Allah. Allahu Akbar. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. We have not recognized Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't talk about Allah. We don't look at the qudrat of Allah. We don't sit in solitude and just think of the tulip, of the rose, of the pansies, of the daffodil. Signs all around in the expanse of the heavens and the enormity of the mountains and the glow of the moonlight and the twinkling of the stars and the rays of the sun and the lengthening and the shortening of the shadows and the whiteness of the clouds and the pouring of the rain and the blowing of the wind and the scattering of the leaves and the changing of the seasons and the raging of the storms and the blooming of the flowers and the blossoming of the daffodils and the spinning of the spider's web and the sweetness in the honey and the vastitude of the oceans and the depth of the oceans and the limitlessness of the deserts and the immeasurability of the grains of sands contained within those deserts, and the twinkling, the shining of the droplet of water on the tip of the leaf in the midday sun, and the trickling of the streams, and the raging of the rivers, and the flowing of the seas, and the crashing of the waves on the shore, and the rising and the receding of the tides, and the symmetry of the butterfly, the colors of the rainbow, the call of the nightingale, the cooing of the dove, the flight of the doves, the flight of the birds, the constellation of the stars, the swirl of the galaxies, and in the fact that the black and white cow eats green grass, which inside it produces black and brown stool, and yellow urine, and red blood. And from between all of that, with his qudrat and his artistry, he takes out fresh, nutritious, sweet-tasting, healthy, white milk, which does not have any blemish of the blood or any stench of the urine. Allahu Akbar. In every blade of grass, in every droplet of water, in every iota, every molecule, every particle of sun, there are signs of the qudrat and the manifestation of the qudrat and the power and the might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, providing we look with eyes that see. We are very quick to jump, oh, I saw Allah written in the apple and in the moon and in the clouds. These stories we go after, but we don't contemplate. When we sit on iftar today, open up the khajur and think, Allahu Akbar, Subhan Teri Qudrat, Shorili Zameen hai, go to Makkah, Medina, nothing grows there. And it's so hard to dig. Water, they can't get out. They have to import water from other places except Zamzam. And it's very hard ground. And anyone that's buried in there just burns the thing. And it's really difficult. Nothing grows there. And yet, from this hard ground, Allah Ta'ala takes out these beautiful... Have you seen the size of the khajurs nowadays? Massive. And the sweetness in these khajurs. Allahu Akbar. Allah, तेरी क्या शान है, तेरी क्या कुदरत है. Today, we have not recognized Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because we're too busy chasing the dunya. We recognize the pounds and the cars and the bling. Allah, stop looking at all of that. Look at Allah's artistry and recognize Allah. And the Sahaba Kiram, they recognize themselves, which I mentioned yesterday, مَنْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ عَرَفَ رَبَّهُ. And they control their nafs, and they beat their nafs, and they recognize their Allah, they fell in love with Allah, and they fell in love with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they had 100% yaqeen on whatever Allah Ta'ala said, because they trusted Allah, they trusted Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they knew that everything can go wrong, but the word of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam cannot go wrong. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, very quickly I'll tell you his story. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala, one day he was sitting with the Sahaba Kiram in Medina. Sahaba Kiram, when they sat around, they did not talk, oh, how much have you made today? How many empires, how many properties have you got? They never talk about dunya. When they used to sit around, they used to talk about Allah. Sahaba Kiram, when they sat around, they did not talk, oh, how much have you made today? How many empires, how many properties have you got? They never talk about dunya. When they used to sit around, they used to talk about Allah. Ijlis bina nu'min sa'atan, let us renew our iman. So the Sahaba Kiram are talking about the various occasions in which Allah Ta'ala helped them. Somebody talking about the battle of Badr, somebody talked about the battle of Uhud, somebody talked about this, somebody talked about that. Hazrat Ali, and everyone's iman is going up. Hazrat Ali radiallahu is sitting there, he's silent, he's just listening. Somebody said, Ya Ali, bayyin amamana ahwala tilka al-layla التي تركك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في بيته ما كان هناك منس. Oh Ali, tell us about that night when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left you in Makkah in his bed, and there was no friend, no protecting friend for you. You were all on your own. And the enemies had their naked swords. They were standing outside the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you knew that at any time they could come in and they could assassinate you, thinking that you are Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We think, oh Ali, that perhaps on that night, that must have been the worst night of your life. Perhaps on that night, you did not sleep a wink. Now listen to the Iman answer of Ali radiallahu, Allahu Akbar. Allah Ta'ala bless them. What Iman he had? He said, I swear by Allah, the sleep that I had, the depth of that sleep and the sweetness of that sleep that I had on that night, never before have I slept like that, and never after that have I ever slept like that. Sahaba Kiram were shocked. Oh Ali, what are you talking about? How could you have slept like a baby on that night, such a sweet and deep sleep? There was no one there for you. Any time they could have come in and pounced on you and killed you. They're not going to come in and take the blanket over your face and check who you are. They would have just stabbed you. How? He said, because I was sure that these people will not be able to harm me. They will not be able to do anything to me. How, Ali? How did you have that yaqeen? He said, because when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took me into his house and he told me to sleep in his bed and he gave me the amanat of the Quraysh and he said, return this to them, and then tomorrow morning set off for Medina. We will meet, inshallah, in Medina. We are going to meet. Come meet me there. When my Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to me that we are going to meet, I had yaqeen that between now and then, not even Malakul Maut can take me. Yaqeen on the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said that whenever, because he accepted Islam, like I said yesterday, he accepted Islam from a very young age. So he says, whenever I have slept before that, and whenever I have slept after that, I have been always conscious of the fact that tonight Malakul Maut may come to me and may take me, and if I die tonight, what hisab will I give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can I stand in front of Allah? So whenever before that I have slept, and whenever after that I have slept, it has been restless sleep. But in that period, I was sure that even Malakul Maut cannot take me, because my Nabi has said we're going to meet. Allahu Akbar. That is the Iman of the Sahaba Kiram. Another story of Hazrat Ali radiallahu, very quickly. He was once on a journey, he was outside of Medina. He fell so seriously ill that the people around him, they were convinced that he's gonna die. Now in this day and age, we see that when a person is, if I'm ill, if I'm 60% ill, the people around me, they think, nah, it's alright. People phone, Mari Sahib, how's he doing? Where is really ill? Nah, he'll be alright. Yes, that's what happens. People around the sick person, they feel less. Because they're assessing the situation. The person himself, he exaggerates his illness, isn't it? Because he's going through it. You've all heard of, well, not only heard of, you've all experienced man flu, isn't it? Man flu, women always complain. He's only got a bit of a temperature and he's, gather the kids, call the kids, wasiyat kar do man. Sorry, my love, for all the trouble I've given you. remember me after I'm gone. What are you talking about? You've only got a sniffle. Oh no, I'm dying here. Yes? I'm only 30% ill, but I've exaggerated it to 99%. I'm a goner. And the people around me say, just have a bit of chicken soup, you'll be all right. That's what happens, isn't it? That's what happens in the world. ऐसा ही होता है ना? Right? And look at the Sahaba Kiram, Allahu Akbar. They turned everything on his head. The people around Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala, they're convinced that he's gonna die. So they start making mashwara. Let's take him back to Medina. His family is in Medina. His friends are in Medina. People will pray his janazah namaz there. We can bury him in Jannatul Baqi. So Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu comes around from his fever and he wakes up and he sees that there's movement. So he says, what are you guys doing? They said, oh Ali, we're making preparations to take you back to Medina. So why? Because we think that you're going to die. And so if you die here in the wilderness, how are we going to bury you and who's going to pray your janazah namaz? He said, nah, forget your arrangements. I'm not going to die in this illness. They're convinced that he's going to die. He said, nah, don't worry, I'm not going to die. But Ali, look at your temperature. It's not going down. You're going to die. He said, nah, I'm not going to die. How can you be so sure, oh Ali, that you're not going to die in this illness? He said, because my Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to me, oh Ali, you shall not die until you become the leader of the Muslims and your beard will be colored with the blood of your head. Meaning you will be assassinated. So I knew that I'm not going to die of this fever. I've not become leader of the Muslims yet. I'm not assassinated yet. So I'm not going to die. Rest assured, you don't go back to sleep. I'm not going to die. And sure enough, he got better. Allahu Akbar. Ye kya tha? Ye Iman tha of the Sahaba Kiram. So this is why we have to make effort on our Iman, brothers and sisters. These two things that I've given you over the last 5 days, Allah Ta'ala reward you, brothers and sisters, for listening. मेरे जैसे लौंडे की आप बात इतनी तवज्जो से सुनते हैं, बक रहा हूँ जुनून में क्या क्या कुछ न समझे खुदा करे कोई. मैं तो तालिब इल्म हूँ, लेकिन माँ आप मोहब्बत से आते हैं, बात सुनते हैं, माशाल्लाह तवज्जो से. अल्लाह ताला आपको फलता और फूलता रखे. अल्लाह ताला preserve you all. But the message over the past 5 days has been to curtail our desires, control our nafs, and to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the best ways of doing that is to strive out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These things cannot be done at home. At home I say, right, I'm on a diet, I'm not going to eat all this. Next thing, wife goes, I made this chocolate cake. No, I'm on. Go on then, just one slice. Oh, Mubina from next door, she gave this. Chalo, go on then. Oh, your sister sent this cheesecake for you. Chalo, Allah ni nehmat din naqadri ni karwani, chalo. That's what happens. We can't do it at home. But to go out in the path of Allah, I've just remembered it. Chalo, मैं आपको हंसता. People ask me कि आप jokes क्यों सुनाते हैं? तो मैं कहता हूँ कि देखो भाई, जो उस्ताद होता है ना, उसका असर शागिर्द में आता है. जिसकी सोहबत पाई है, उसका असर शागिर्द में आता है. मैं अपने असातिज़ा से, अपने बुजुर्गों से और कुछ हासिल तो नहीं कर सका, इल्म नहीं ले सका, अमल नहीं ले सका, मेरी तरबियत नहीं हो सकी. लेकिन उनके जोक्स और उनके जो खुश मिजाजी जो थी, वो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह कुछ न कुछ मेरे अंदर आई. हज़रत मौलाना याकूब साहब दामत बरकतहुम, मौलाना यूनुस पूना साहब रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, हज़रत हाफिज़ पटेल साहब रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, मौलाना कारी दाऊद मेवाती साहब रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, इन हज़रात की हमने सोहबत पाई. तो उनके यहाँ ये था कि भाई बयान में भी जोक सुना देते थे. मौलाना यूनुस साहब तो हंसाते थे, लोग इतने हंसते थे, एक दूसरे को ताली भी मारते थे. मैंने अपने उनकी मजलिस में खुद देखा. और उसी मजलिस में फिर रुलाते भी थे. कमाल ये था उनका. तो लोग पूछते हैं कि भाई आप मौलवी साहब जोक्स क्यों सुनाते हैं? तो मैं कहता हूँ कि भाई एक तो उनका असर है, दूसरा ये है कि भाई मुबारक और बहुत नेक लोग हमारे बयान में आते हैं. रोजेदार है, अल्लाह के वली है, इतनी कुर्बानी के साथ ये बड़े बूढ़े बुजुर्ग जो है, डायबिटीज़, हार्ट प्रॉब्लम्स, ब्लड प्रेशर के बावजूद 20 घंटे के रोज़े रखते हैं. तो अगर मेरी फिलॉसफी ये है कि अगर मैं आपको हंसाऊंगा तो आप खुश हो जाएंगे. तो नेक आदमी का दिल खुश करना, ये तो बहुत बड़ी नेकी है. तो इंशाल्लाह मुझे भी सवाब मिलेगा. इसलिए मैंने जो कहा ना कि I said that somebody, I'm on a diet, but so my wife keeps bringing chocolate cakes. I said, "Child, go on then. You shouldn't do naqadri of Allah's ni'mat." So that was this guy. He was a fake Maulvi Sahib, not a proper Maulvi Sahib, fake Maulvi Sahib, fraudy Maulvi. So his wife, one day, he sat down for iftar, and his wife, she'd made bindas, yeah. So he was like, "Do I look like a cow to you? मैं गाय हूँ, मैं बकरी हूँ, सब्जी खाऊंगा, गोश्त खिलाना." She goes, oh, what can I do? Paise nahi the. He goes, listen, kal mujhe murgi chahiye, mujhe gosht chahiye, warna teri khair nahi hai. So she goes, all right. So next morning, she goes, he's gone off to work, she goes shopping. So they're all sold out on chickens. So then she's in a dilemma. Anyway, that night when he sits down to eat, what have you cooked? So he goes, chicken lawan, chicken salad. So he goes, oh, that's more like it. Come on, dish it out. So she goes, there's a problem. He goes, what's the problem? I went to the shop to buy chicken, but they were all sold out. So then what did you do? I went to the neighbor's house to ask them, because they got chickens. I asked to borrow one, but they weren't in. Then what did you do? Then I was thinking what to cook now, and then I was in the kitchen, and then I saw that one of the chickens from next door's house came into our yard. So I thought it must be from Allah. So I took it and did zabah. So this guy, he was a fraudy Mauli Sahaba. He was a Mauli Sahaba there. He said, Astaghfirullah, la hawla wa la quwwata. That's haram. You've taken it without ijazat. Hum isko nahi kha sakte. So she goes, what do I do then? Take the tapelu back. He goes, nah, siro khalai de. Just give me the soup. But no chicken. Chicken's haram. So she goes, okay. So when she starts taking it out, a chicken leg comes into the ladle, in the chamcha. So she's about to take it back out and throw it back in. So he gives her a slap. He goes, if it's coming, Allah na taraf nahi hai, nahi dahi didi. If it comes into play, then keep it. Then it's from Allah. So like that. Allah Ta'ala sabke hal pe raham. But my two very important messages, brothers and sisters. Control our nafs, build our iman. And one of the best ways to do that is to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we listen, hear about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In solitude we sit and we'll contemplate about the qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Basharte ke we leave our phones at home, because the phone connects us with the creation, and we go out in the path of Allah to connect with the Creator. And then we make that effort on our nafs and our iman, then inshallah we will fall in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. वो दिल जिसमें जलवा तुम्हारा नहीं है, वो दिल सबका हो पर तुम्हारा नहीं है. That heart which does not have Allah in it, that is not the heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That cannot have the marifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to make our hearts. One Buzurg made a very beautiful dua which I wrote down. He said, Allah hamare dilon ko teri jalwagah bana de. Oh Allah, make my heart your throne, that you come into my heart, meaning your ma'rifat, your recognition comes into my heart. Oh Allah, hamare dilon ko teri ma'rifat ka gehwara bana de. Make my heart the cradle of your love, oh Allah. Allah Ta'ala grant me and all of us also. Parcha ho gaya na? I've got another parcha. I don't know if I should give it to you. आप लोग बहुत गौर और तवज्जो से बात सुनते रहे. चलो मैं आपको हदिया दे देता हूँ, another hadiya. This parcha I made 15 years ago, but I only gave to exclusive people. But now I don't know how long I've got left, and I don't know if I'll be with you next Ramzan. Allah Ta'ala give me barakat in my life. बहुत धीमे से आमीन कही. चलो, say in another way. I don't know if you will be with me next Ramzan. Allah Ta'ala give you barakat in your life. हाँ देखा ना, अब आमीन जोर से कहा. So जिंदगी का कोई भरोसा नहीं है. I've had this for a long time. This is from the Muqaddamah of Nurul Iza. Nurul Iza is a very famous kitab. It's taught in all the madrasas. You can have to ask the ulama kiram. It's a beautiful kitab on fiqh. In the introduction of that, there's this story written, this incident. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his dream 99 times. It says in that kitab. Now people might say, oh, this is authentic and blah, blah. Well, you know, dreams are a part of nabuwat, a part of revelation. There's a hadith. And people do get inspired in their dreams. But that doesn't mean that every dream is inspiration. You have to go and check it with the ulama kiram. And we know that our azan came in dreams also of so many sahaba kiram. Yes? So this can happen. But if you want to dismiss the dream, then even then the words, there's nothing wrong with the words. You'll get a lot of reward for just reciting the words even, whether you believe in the fazilat or not. But anyway, I'm just narrating to you what's written in the kitab. I've just translated that. So Allama Najmul Ghaisi, he says that Imam Abu Hanifa mentioned that I saw Allah Ta'ala 99 times in my dreams. Then I told myself that if I see Allah Ta'ala for the 100th time in my dream, then I will ask him that how can the creation attain salvation on the day of Qiyamah. So obviously to attain salvation we have to pray our namaz and keep our fast and all that sort of stuff. But along with that, what's a special recipe, what's a special key that can get us salvation? So then Imam Sahib, he saw his Imam Azam, you know, if you doubt this stuff, then read the biography of Imam Azam, you find out what a superstar he was. So these things did happen to him. So when he saw Allah Ta'ala for the 100th time in his dream, he said, "Oh my Rabb, honored is your proximity, exalted are your praises, and sanctified are your names. How can the creation attain salvation on the day of judgment?" So Allah Ta'ala said to him, "Whoever reads the following dua in the morning and evening will be saved from my punishment." And he is the dua. Okay, and at the bottom, I have very, very kindly, I'm a nice guy, huh? I've also transliterated it for you as well. And that's when, I did it 15 years ago, that's when I was a nice guy. Huh? Not anymore. So, the dua is this: Subhan al-abadi al-abad, Subhan al-wahid al-ahad, Subhan al-fard al-samad, Subhan rafi' al-samai bi ghayri amad, Subhan man basat al-arda ala ma'in jamad, Subhan man khalaqa al-khalqa fa ahsahum adad, Subhan man qasama al-rizqa wa lam yansa ahad, Subhan alladhi lam yattakhis sahibatan wa la walad, Subhan alladhi lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Very easy to memorize, very easy to learn, very easy to recite. So inshallah I'm going to give this to Farooq Bhai is going to print them off and then give them, especially to the ladies. Ladies, mashallah, are very paband with praying this stuff. And try to read it every morning and evening and spread the word. Make an image of it if you can and spread it on social media also. Just as, mashallah, that parcha that I wrote, mashallah, the brothers have typed it up also, mashallah. Allah Ta'ala reward all you brothers. Mere liye bhi dua karna bhai. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah.